Have you ever heard of a man so untouchable, so confident in his own power, that he believed he could get away with murder? Not just once, but twice. Drew Peterson wasn't just any suspect. He was a decorated police officer, a man who knew the ins and outs of investigations, who understood exactly how to cover his tracks. For years, he manipulated the system, using his badge as a shield against scrutiny, even as the women closest to him kept disappearing. But when his fourth wife, Stacy Peterson, vanished without a trace, the cracks in his carefully controlled world began to show. To the public, Peterson was the kind of cop who demanded respect. To his colleagues, he was known for his bold, cocky personality. He was the officer who took control of every situation, the one who made sure his voice was heard. But behind closed doors, Drew Peterson was something else entirely. Stick around as we uncover the terrifying truth about the killer cop who thought he was untouchable. Drew Peterson's personal life was a mess of failed marriages, controlling behavior, and mounting accusations of abuse. His first marriage, to Carol Brown in 1974, ended in accusations of infidelity and emotional manipulation. Carol later revealed that Drew had an obsessive need for control, constantly monitoring her whereabouts and cutting her off from friends. At first, she mistook his behavior for jealousy and protectiveness, but over time, she realized it was something much darker. His second marriage to Victoria Connolly followed the same pattern. Their marriage lasted from 1982 to 1992, and in that time, Victoria claimed that Drew repeatedly threatened her, hit her, and used his status as a police officer to intimidate her. She later admitted she felt lucky to have escaped their marriage alive. She had seen firsthand what Drew was capable of, and she wasn't willing to stick around to find out how far he would go. But it was Peterson's third wife, Kathleen Savio, who would pay the ultimate price. Kathleen was strong-willed, outspoken, and independent, all traits that made her a target for Drew's controlling nature. At first, their marriage seemed happy, but behind closed doors, Drew was growing more possessive, more violent. By 2001, their marriage was crumbling. The once loving relationship had become toxic and terrifying, with multiple police reports documenting their violent fights. Kathleen filed for divorce, but even as they lived separately, Drew refused to let her go. She confided in friends that she believed he would kill her before ever letting her be free. On March 1st, 2004, just weeks before their divorce was finalized, Kathleen Savio was found dead in her bathtub. She was face down, her hair soaked in blood, with deep bruises on her body. There was no water in the tub, no signs of forced entry, no evidence of a struggle. Yet, the initial coroner's report ruled it an accidental drowning. No autopsy, no further investigation, just an official ruling, and the case was closed. Drew, still a cop, had connections in law enforcement and was never seriously questioned. And just like that, he was free to move on. If this case is as disturbing to you as it sounds, take a second to like this video. It really helps the channel out. Not even a year later, he married a 19-year-old woman named Stacy Cales, a woman 30 years younger than him. At first, Stacy was enamored with Drew. He was older, powerful, and seemed protective. But over time, she became more withdrawn, more anxious, more trapped. She confided in her pastor that Drew had killed Kathleen and staged it as an accident. Then, on October 28th, 2007, Stacy Peterson vanished. Drew's explanation: she ran off with another man, abandoning her children and her life without warning. He even had the audacity to go on television, smirking and making jokes about his missing wife. But Stacy's family knew better. She had told them she wanted to leave Drew, but was terrified of what he would do. And then, the biggest twist: investigators reopened Kathleen Savio's case. Her body was exhumed, and this time, forensic experts ruled her death a homicide. The cause? Drowning, but not by accident. She had been held underwater after suffering blunt force trauma. Suddenly, Drew Peterson was no longer just a concerned husband. He was the prime suspect in a murder investigation. Things finally started catching up with Drew. In 2009, Peterson was arrested and charged with Kathleen Savio's murder. The case against him was largely circumstantial. There were no direct witnesses, no DNA evidence. But prosecutors had one powerful weapon: Stacy's own words. Before she vanished, Stacy told multiple people that Drew had killed Kathleen. Though she wasn't there to testify, her voice became a crucial piece of evidence in court. The trial was a media circus. Drew, ever the narcissist, thrived in the spotlight. He flirted with TV hosts, joked with reporters, and acted like he was above it all. But the jury saw through his act. In 2012, Peterson was found guilty of Kathleen's murder and sentenced to 38 years in prison. But even behind bars, Drew Peterson wasn't finished. In 2017, he was convicted again, this time for attempting to hire a hitman to kill the prosecutor who put him away. That added another 40 years to his sentence, ensuring he would never walk free again. Yet Stacy Peterson's fate remains a mystery. Despite numerous searches and ongoing investigations, her body has never been found. Authorities strongly believe Drew killed her to silence her, but without direct evidence, her case remains officially unsolved. Peterson, now serving a combined 78 years in prison, still refuses to admit to anything. He continues to claim that he is innocent, that Stacy ran away, and that he's been wrongly convicted. But his past speaks for itself. Drew Peterson spent decades hiding behind his badge, abusing his power, and controlling the women in his life. But in the end, his arrogance and his own words led to his downfall. Was Drew Peterson a master manipulator who got away with more than one murder? Or was he just a man who thought he was too smart to ever get caught? Let us know what you think in the comments. And if you found this deep dive compelling, subscribe for more in-depth, true true crime stories.